Hi everyone, my name is Diane and I am a clinical exercise physiologist with True Fitness. So the topic for today's workshop is how to structure your training week. In other words, how to help you achieve the recommended guidelines for aerobic, resistance, flexibility and balance training all within your training week. So this is the fifth in our workshop series, and the previous four focused on aerobic exercise, resistance training, flexibility and balance. So you might want to look at those prior to this if you haven't already done so. So just an important piece of background information. John and I in True Fitness have been commissioned by Laois Sports Partnership to design and deliver a 12-week strength and fitness intervention for adults in Laois aged 50 to 80 years. And this research study, fantastically, has been funded by the Sláintecare Integration Fund under grant agreement number 21. And if you'd like to hear more about the study design and what we're doing, I will present it at the end of this presentation. Just for now, to say that this mini workshop is part of a number of workshops that were created for the participants as part of this research. Okay, so the first workshop we looked at a number of weeks ago was about aerobic exercise. So for example, what is it? Walking, cycling, dancing, swimming, running. And then from there we moved on to resistance training. So for example, your squats, your lunges, your sit to stand exercises, and so on to develop strength. We then followed this with the workshop on balance training, so why you should do it and how valuable it is to you. And then finally with the flexibility training. So within all of these, we looked at the FIT principles. So we went through the frequency of training in terms of how many times a week should you do all of these, the intensity that you should work at, the duration of your sessions, and then the type. So we supported the type with, for example, home-based videos to help you train your strength or your fitness or your balance or your flexibility. So they're all in the previous workshops, and happy to share those resources if you haven't seen them already. And with that then, we just wanted to help you to structure your training week so that you could incorporate all of these types of training. It's called multimodal physical activity. Okay, so what we did just to help you navigate this is we've just created a very basic training diary. So it's basically Monday to Sunday, we have a box for each day where you can write in what type of training you did and maybe how much of it. And you can do this at home just using a calendar or something simple like that. But we'll just say, for example, Monday is an aerobic training session, and in this case, it's a 45-minute walk. So the case study we're kind of looking at here is just for general health and fitness. It's not for particularly highly trained individuals, it's not for competition for sure. So just general health and fitness, and it would be particularly relevant to, we'll say, the participants who are on our Sláintecare project, Prime Time for middle age and older adults at the moment. So, okay, so it's a 45-minute walk. It can be continuous, or if the fitness isn't quite there yet, it can be broken up into shorter sessions throughout the day. So for example, 15 minutes in the morning, lunchtime and evening. And we'll say on Tuesday then you do our Sláintecare session, which is a 60-minute online exercise class, and we have organised them so that they include aerobic, resistance, flexibility and balance training. So within your 60-minute session, you're hitting all four components of fitness. On Wednesday then, we're looking at an aerobic session, and you might be a little tired from doing your class the previous day, so we have reduced the duration to a 30-minute walk, which is still brilliant for health. Thursday, you're back doing your prime time Sláintecare class with us, which incorporates aerobic, resistance, flexibility and balance training. Friday then is important, and we have it highlighted as a rest day. And generally when we're working with people who are training, and particularly for people who are competing and training hard, and also for people who are beginners to exercise, so maybe they haven't done any exercise in a while, and you know, for example, your January resolution where you decide, okay, I am going to give this a good shot this time and I'm going to really be active and so on, and that's absolutely brilliant. But don't forget your rest day. So it's really, really important. That's the day where your body recovers from all of the training that you've been doing, and it adapts and it gets fitter and stronger. So this is really, really important, and it's not optional, it's essential in terms of training. But what we would suggest is if you're having a rest day from training, okay, so I'm not saying don't be active, keep doing what you do, keep your step count high and so on. But in terms of training, it's a rest day from one of those structured sessions. But we would recommend that you do a good flexibility or stretching session on this day, like a good 30 minutes, for example, one of the workouts that we've shared with our Sláintecare participants um, following John's workshop, and we have them all freely available if anyone would like to contact us. It's a really good day to de-stress from the week, and it's a really nice way to let your muscles kind of recover from all of the training during the week as well. So we would recommend that. And at the weekend, we generally, because we've more time, we would generally recommend that's when you do your long session. And there are numerous benefits from a long aerobic session. So, for example, a long walk. So, if you look here, the person's walks are 45 minutes and 30 minutes on Monday and Wednesday. But on Saturday, we try to get up to the hour mark and above, because you really get good fitness and health benefits from this. And again, it doesn't have to be 60 minutes continuous. It can be broken up into smaller sections, like 20 minute bouts if it has to be. So we would recommend your long session on a Saturday. And finally, I have a 60-minute session on a Sunday, which we would like to have 50% of it being aerobic. So, for example, your walk as usual, but it's a good idea to try and get some more strength training in later in the week, particularly if you have something like osteoporosis, and particularly if you're in the older adult group, because we want to make sure that you maintain the amount of muscle that you have and its strength and function. So again, we've distributed short strength home-based routines for our Sláintecare participants, and if anyone would like to avail of those, please let us know and we can send them on. So that's what a week kind of looks like. And just in terms of the recommendations for all of these different types of training. So we told you in the first workshop that you should do aerobic exercise 5 to 7 days a week for optimal health. And if we look here at our checklist, we have it on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday, and we actually have it on Sunday as well. So we've 6 sessions within the week here. If we look at resistance, we told you that you should do resistance training 2 to 3 times per week for optimal strength, functionality, functional independent living, and so on as we age, for healthy aging. And if you look at our week, we have it on Tuesday and Thursday and Sunday. So we've hit those recommendations as well. In terms of flexibility, the minimum requirements are 2 to 3 days per week. Now, it depends. So if you've no issue with flexibility, or if you have no conditions that require a lot of flexibility training, like arthritis, back pain, or whatever it is, lots of different clinical conditions would need more flexibility training. But for your average person, stretching 2 to 3 days a week is enough. And the longer session on the Friday is really, really good to help you really increase your flexibility. So you're hitting your targets there on Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. And then in terms of balance training for people who are at low risk of falls, you should do it twice a week, just for 5 minutes, just to make sure that you are training balance in some way and that you avoid things like falls as you get older. But if you are a medium risk of falls, so for example, people who have osteoporosis would fall into this category, you should do balance training on more days during the week, so 3 to 4. But if you're really high risk of falls, so for example, if you've had a fall already, or if you've had a number of falls, well, then you need intensive balance training, but you also need intensive strength training, because the leg strength isn't there for you to help you to keep your balance. So in that case, you're looking at balance 4+ days a week. Now, the balance training is 5 to 10 minutes in duration. They're not huge sessions, and we've have plenty of videos to help you on your way if you'd like them. And in this case, we're saying this person is low risk of falls, and they're doing their balance training on Tuesdays and Thursdays, so that's perfect. Okay, so we always give you health homework after your health workshop, and in this case, we've just simply outlined a 7-day training diary. So it's blank, so you can insert whatever type of training you do, and then it also asks you how many minutes do you do on that day of that particular type of training. And if you look towards the end, then what we have is the guidelines for your aerobic, resistance, flexibility, and balance training. So you can tick off, as you write in your session, tick it off in terms of how many of each have you done. And if you're doing any of our home-based videos for Sláintecare, then you can tick off all 4 components of fitness in each 60-minute workout. And then finally, I also have the rest day written in there, to make sure that you're getting your rest day. Now, it's just important. I'm not saying be sedentary and sit down and don't move. I'm saying be active. So keep moving, keep your step count up. But if you're doing structured training sessions, like your strength training, like your long walks, like whatever, all of those types of training, well, then you don't do them every single day of the week because it gets too hard and too stressful on the body. And in those cases, you need a rest day from structured. So we have provided our participants with additional practical resources that are associated with the 4 previous workshops on aerobic training, resistance training, flexibility and balance training. And they're mostly in the form of home-based training videos. So if you'd like to avail of those, they're completely free. They were developed as part of the Sláintecare Fund project. So please contact us and we will happily send them to you. So you can either contact myself, Diane, or John, who is our strength and conditioning specialist in True Fitness. And the details are, the website is www.truefitness.ie or info@truefitness.ie, and we will happily send that information. Okay, so in terms of recommended reading, again, the American College of Sports Medicine are a nice go-to organisation for this. And that particular paper there on exercise and physical activity for older adults outlines the type and amount of multimodal training that should be done as we age and why, and it gives lots, because it's a review, it gives you lots of useful papers actually to look up for further reference and further reading. And also for any professionals working in this space, the ACSM have really nice kind of pocket resources. So it's guidelines in exercise testing and prescription, and this is really useful to support this workshop in terms of how to structure your training week and all about the different types, modes of training, how much you should do and why, and so on. And it's just a really, really useful tool. A lot of clinical physiologists would use this. So I'm just pointing you in the direction of that if it's something that you would like to read. Okay, so finally, for anyone who's interested, so we are currently running a research study titled Prime Time for Middle-Aged and Older Adults, a strength and fitness program for adults aged 50 to 80 years in Laois. And we have recruited 80 participants. They're 50 to 80 years of age. Originally, we were supposed to run this on site, which we love to do, so we get to really know everyone, and there's obviously a lot of social interaction and so on. But of course, with COVID, and because of the age group of this group, and also all of the numerous clinical conditions and injuries and so on that exist, of course they're of the most vulnerable in society at the moment. So we had to change our study design to move to online intervention, which to be fair is probably going to be the future of training interventions for this population for the immediate future anyway. So it's actually a really good opportunity to trial this. So we have participants of all clinical conditions, all abilities, visual impairments, you name it, everybody is in this program. It's an inclusive program, and that's what it was always intended. There's very little exclusion criteria here. We received ethical approval for the study from DCU, so we were delighted with that. And we worked very hard for this to be an online intervention. Okay, so we conducted our pre-program tests at the start of September, and in the interest of time, we ran a battery of tests in small groups, of course, and with all precautions taken to assess strength, fitness, balance, flexibility for physical measurements. And then we did a number of questionnaires to look at mental health, quality of life, how active people are, and a range of other measures as well. And these, of course, were actually done on site because, of course, us as testers, we need to be able to assess these variables, but all precautions were taken in terms of COVID, and all procedures were approved by the DCU Ethics Committee. Okay, so from there we have moved on to our 12-week intervention, and so what the participants do is they train twice a week with us online. So they're all trained up on Zoom, and everyone is using that twice a week to train with us. Each training session is a combination of strength work, aerobic exercise, balance, and flexibility. Because what we're finding is, even for the people who are active, they mostly focus on aerobic exercise, but as we get older, we need all of the components of fitness. So we have all of them incorporated into each training session. So they do that twice a week with us, but they also do one mini workshop with us per week. And in those, we pick a particular topic and we take them through the science behind it in a very, very practical way. And we also support these with take-home resources in the form of handouts or videos or whatever it is that suits that particular workshop. And of course, we monitor everyone weekly. We constantly call people, email people, and we do as much as we can in terms of social support as well, because that's really, really important part of training. So we, at the end of each week, then we email everyone their participant take-home resources. So they're building up a big bank of physical activity and health resources that they can use moving forward. And the purpose of these mini workshops is to teach them everything they need to know that they'll be able to maintain these behaviours in the longer term. Okay. And of course, after week 12, we will be repeating the post-program tests. This is a research study, so we will be creating a research paper in January of 2021, and we're hoping to publish that in the Irish Medical Journal, so it'll be open access for anybody who's interested to take part. And obviously, this is important to say that we were commissioned by Laois Sports Partnership to do this particular research study, and it's funded by the Sláintecare Integration Fund under Grant Agreement 21.